Guys, were there issues in Georgia? Yeah, there were issues in Georgia, guys. All right. But the main issue here is that if you are attempting to litigate something, the first thing you should have done, okay, was make sure, let's say, that there will be no conflict of interest, because the other side is going to pick that apart flawlessly. And that's exactly what happened with Fani Willis, guys. Period. All right. You should have stepped away from the case completely, because now your case is basically worthless. Now, does it stop the overall litigation? No, that just means that they're going to basically restart the case, most likely. Okay, that's kind of where I'm at on this here. But let's go ahead and check this out immediately. The name of the video is the DA, Fani Willis, has been disqualified from Georgia Trump case. That was how it should have happened. So, all right, let's go and check it out immediately. This is a suggestion via Discord.
He's got to get to Fulton County, Georgia. And here we go. A Georgia Court of Appeals has disqualified the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, from that election interference case. It's coming down right now. The case against Trump and more than a dozen others already largely stalled, as you know. The new ruling means that it will be up to the prosecuting attorney's council in the state of Georgia to find another prosecutor to decide on the case, to take it over and make a decision as to whether or not they continue with a prosecution of the incoming president.
And yeah, they're definitely going to continue with it. They're just going to have to restart everything. I think that's kind of where we are right now in terms of this specific case.
Incoming president.
And former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo is here. John, does this mean that this is yet another one of the cases against Trump that could go away before he's president?
It's another example, Dana, of this lawfare campaign that was waged by Democrats, boomeranging back on them and falling all around their ears. Anyone who watched this trial, remember, this is the DA who claimed that the entire Trump reelection campaign was something like an organized crime racket that was intending to deprive everyone of our civil rights to vote. But remember, we saw the dramatic testimony over the summer of how DA Fani Willis had hired her boyfriend, essentially, to be the special counsel, overpaid him, and then had him investigate and bring charges against Donald Trump.
Right, it definitely felt like a witch hunt by definition.
It's a complete conflict
in this
of interest.
context.
And if you take a quick look at the Georgia Appeals Court decision here, that's what it says. There's such an appearance of impropriety, an appearance of a conflict of interest that Fani Willis should not be the prosecutor. I think this spells yet another case that's going to have to either be suspended or more likely just ended and tossed out. It's hard for me to see another Georgia district attorney wanting to take up this flawed case and try to prosecute Trump on these theories that his reelection campaign was some kind of criminal organized crime enterprise.
Okay, so by that exact context, no. But are they still going to retry him by all means? Yes, they're going to. No matter what we say, okay, they're still going to do this. But if they do go that exact route, they're going to fail, because that's just not the case, guys. Right? But all right.
John, a couple of things here. There are 14 others that face charges. I don't know what happens to them, but she can appeal to the state Supreme Court in Georgia. But given what the Supreme Court said in Washington about immunity, I mean, does the state Supreme Court even take her case in Georgia?
Her case?
It's a good question, Bill. I think what's going to happen here, along the lines of possible appeals and so on, is it looks likely, because of that presidential immunity decision by the Supreme Court, that any kind of state prosecution of President Trump would have to be at least suspended, if not dropped. You're seeing that going on, those arguments going on right now up in New York City with the case being heard by Judge Merchan. So even if they could get past immunity, they'd still have to suspend it while President Trump was in office.
And that's the reality. I think we all know, I think anyone that's been following the case pretty much knows that he is now president-elect. He will be president very soon, right? Under no circumstance are they going to try him while he's in office. So that's what's going to happen here. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not sure they're ever going to drop it, though. Okay, and that's just my overall belief in this system here.
But furthermore, you'd have to go back and then scrub the whole indictment, scrub everything the grand jury did, and say you've got to eliminate anything that used official actions by President Trump any evidence that came in from White House officials, from anything the president was doing in the Oval Office, they might actually fatally handicap this prosecution and require the whole thing to be dismissed.
It's interesting, too, because she had this novel way of trying to get at him through RICO. Was that a mistake as well? In addition to her personal behavior, obviously,
RICO?
is what they're saying here. But in a way, it was this like novel idea, like, how can I be the one to take Trump down? That's for, like, politically, she wanted that reputation.
Yeah, she was cocky.
Dana, you and I remember we're Justice Department alums. Yeah, I remember you when you were there and I was there and we were, there after the days of 9/11. And you can use this kind of statute, RICO, to try to go after real organized crime, drug cartels, mafia organizations. DA Fani Willis introduced, I think, a really dangerous theory was that we could use these powerful tools that are used for terrorists and drug cartels and apply them to political campaigns, and not just any political campaign, but the campaign by the leading opposition candidate at that time, Donald Trump, the head of one of the two major parties in the country. I think ultimately the whole thing would have been tossed out because it violated the free speech rights of Donald Trump, the free speech rights of the Republican Party, and actually a lot of Americans who supported him. So I think in the end, this whole thing was going to come crashing down around Fani Willis's and the Democratic Party's ears. Anyway.
Yeah, it was. Guys, here's the thing. Atlanta and the state of Georgia is interesting. Let's just say that. When it comes to the RICO cases, they like throwing that at everybody, okay? They're just like, listen, we can't charge him like this or charge them or anyone generally and win. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and say that they're the biggest, the baddest individual in the history of Earth. So let's go ahead and use some type of RICO statute to take them down. Georgia is basically known for this, bro. All right.
It seemed complicated from the beginning. There is that case here in New York that's still out there, the 34 counts in Judge Merchan's courtroom. He made a ruling about a week ago that the conviction still stands, but the penalty will be judged at a later date.
Yeah.
John, do you think that later date ever happens now?
Yes.
I think this is Judge Merchan really still trying to go after Donald Trump. Think about it. If you look, Bill, you mentioned the presidential immunity case. There's a footnote, a really important footnote in that opinion that says states, even if they're prosecuting a president for private acts, can't use evidence from the presidency. They can't use what Donald Trump said in the Oval Office. They can't use what White House officials said. Nevertheless, Judge Merchan went ahead and held a trial and introduced that kind of evidence. He should, at the very least, order a new trial, if not force the DA to go back to it. But what Merchan is doing, which I think is still dangerous, is he's dangling these charges still, the sentencing, over the head of Donald Trump and saying, well, I can't sentence you now. Maybe I won't. He could try to get in before the inauguration, but he shouldn't. But he's going to say, I'm going to dangle that over your head for the next 4 years, and I'm going to be waiting for you when your presidency is over.
Well, you have to think he's doing the work of Alvin Bragg, right, Dana? At the moment. I mean, he works for the DA, right, John?
I don't know.
I wouldn't say he's doing. I'm sure Bragg loves this idea because Bragg is trying to make his career out of harassing President Trump. And this is a terrible thing for not just Donald Trump, for all Americans because of the presidency. You don't want presidents to have to try to make the toughest decisions on behalf of the country and have to worry, what's going to happen to me when I come out of office? Is this, two-bit judge and this DA
you have to be able to have clear
me.
decision making, indeed. John, you stick around for a moment. We have some other breaking news. Bill?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what I'm taking from this is that they need people to be above the law, okay? And the fact is, he's an American citizen. And I think when it comes down to it, they can't do anything to him while he's in office. That's just the fact, right? Presidential immunity. But that still does not change what's going on the outside. I mean, I try to look at things logically here, and they're not going to stop. Like, they really hate him, guys. Okay, they really, really hate him. And because of that, how about this here? They really hate him, and they have power. They're not letting this go, right? They just are not. But they now know they have to put everything on pause. Is Georgia going to stop coming after Trump? No. Is New York going to stop coming after Trump? No. Like, you can wish it, right? But again, they have power, guys. I just want to look at this thing logical and without any single emotion or care for anyone here in this instance. they are still going to go after him. That's the reality. But either way, listen, guys, let me know in the comments. You can argue with me in the comments. I'm down for it, guys. All right? I'll catch you guys later. This is my lightsaber. Hey, guys. You guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, you're amazing.